Hello and a very warm welcome to the Scotland Malawi Partnership SMP New Members Forum. My name's Stuart, I'm the CEO of the SMP, a membership network which exists to support, connect and represent the many individuals and organisations that have meaningful friendship-based links between Scotland and Malawi. Our aim today is to have a very informal chance for new members to introduce themselves to one another and to existing members. Last week, we heard from new members Alistair Murray, an orthopaedic surgeon who spent last summer working in Mazuzu Central Hospital, Dikani Solema, a Malawian PhD student studying forensic science, Gillian Gilchrist, who told us about her and her husband Alistair's links with Condinani Children's Village. New member Kath Chambers spoke about her Rossshire Church's many initiatives with her partner church in Ekwendeni. Catherine Chivula voiced enthusiasm for contributing to the life of the SMP network. Catherine's a lecturer at the University of Strathclyde in information access challenges and technologies for Malawian languages. And finally, Roger Bamkin, a retired IT specialist, spoke of his really encouraging progress in bridging the gender gap, the digital gender gap, and ways in which we can all do more to champion Malawian women online. It's been great to hear that already some fruitful connections have been made, and you can catch up with any of these conversations and videos of all SMP events on the past events page of our website. Our brilliant membership lead Dorothea will invite new and existing members today to contribute. But first, as today is all about introductions, please let me invite our newest colleague to the SMP team, Nasim, to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nasim. I am originally from Malawi, and I joined SMP at the beginning of this month as their communications and engagements lead. I'm happy to be here and to work with all the members and the SMP team. We'll also just do a little bit of housekeeping for the meeting that we have today. So this meeting, just to let you know that this meeting is being recorded and that everything that we're going to do here will be uploaded on our SMP events past events page, sorry. And also we acknowledge that for you, if you're staying in the meeting, you've given us the consent to post every content that we are going to do here online. And we also want to encourage you to introduce yourself in the chat box, just in case you don't get a chance to unmute your mic at some point. But you can introduce yourself in the chat box, your email, your name, and the organization where you are coming from. And also, would like to ask you to remain muted until you're asked to speak. So and then when you're speaking, just also put your video on so that members can be able to see you. So going further with our meeting, I will hand over to Dorothea, who is the chair of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Nasim. Welcome everyone around this virtual table that we've got here. We look forward to hearing more about you, and as we said before, sometimes these opportunities of sort of speaking to each other arise after any of our meetings, but often these are sort of thematic meetings, whereas at this one we'll hopefully be able to get many people from very different places and fields of interest, maybe make links that you may not have made otherwise had you come to a thematic event. I would like to invite all our new members to speak. I'll go through my screen just randomly how I see you, so there's no specific order. And I would like you to give a short introduction of who you are, and maybe keeping in mind what do you hope to gain from your SMP membership, and maybe which connections would you like to make. So what do you want to gain from the SMP membership, and which connections would you like to make? I now need to look at the room, and the first person I can see is Joanna, please. Would you like to introduce yourself? Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure for me to be here this morning, and I am a volunteer representative with an organisation called Zambezi Mission, based in Blantyre in Malawi. And ideally, our main person, Mike McCabe, would be here today, but he's currently interviewing for a new position in Malawi. So we're a non-denominational agency working in Malawi and northern Mozambique, working with church partners there. And started off in 1892 really as an industrial mission and has evolved to where we are today with it. The office in Blantyre has three national staff there, 3 people there working, and there's a few volunteer staff here in the UK, a few representatives like myself, and a couple of part-time workers in York. So I have been in the last 6 weeks as through the Scottish Malawi Partnership. I've been learning Chichewa, and that has been absolutely wonderful. I have not been to Malawi. I've really just started in this role. So for me, I'm welcoming any opportunity to find out anything about Malawi. Hopefully I'll be going there later this year, early next year, to meet our partners there. So I'm very pleased to be here today just to learn anything I can about the links and the partnerships with Malawi. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Joanna. That's lovely. And yes, I was at the Chichewa classes. I was in the background, but even I picked up quite a lot just by being there. So I can thoroughly recommend them. Thank you. So the next person I see on my screen is Kate. Kate Stafford, would you like to briefly introduce yourself and talk a bit more about what you've done or do with Malawi? Thank you.
Hello. I'm ashamed to say I haven't prepared any of this, but I will try not to waffle. Yeah, my name's Kate Stafford. I lived in Blantyre in Malawi in the early 2000s, where my husband was working as a teacher trainer at the Blantyre Teachers College. And I started working for Story Workshop, which did various things, mostly radio drama, I think, mostly, almost always in Chichewa. I'm an actor, and so my background is in theatre. So while I was there, I was looking to make some theatre with Malawians, and I did. I set up my own theatre company in the end and left Story Workshop, set up Nanzi Kambi after I'd been there a few months, which it still exists as an NGO, Nanzi Kambi, but you know, the funding is very difficult, so I don't know quite how they're doing at the moment. We did theatre, we took Malawian adaptations of Shakespeare to Zimbabwe, and also we did some collaborations with South Africa, with the South African theatre companies. All our actors were Malawians, almost all of them township actors, although these days there's more with backgrounds in universities. So when I came back to the UK, I set up, for those of you not learning Chichewa, Nanzi Kambi is Chichewa for chameleon. And when I came back to the UK, I set up another company, Billy Manque, which my good friend Gideon Kogoya suggested as the name should be Billy Manque because it's a chameleon too, but bigger, which I thought was hilarious. So Gideon and I set up Billy Manque. He was on my board for a short time. But then I took it forward from there, and we did collaborations with the Nanzi Kambi theatre company and also other theatre companies in Malawi. So there's the most recent thing we did was in 2017. I did a tour of England, which unfortunately did not get up to Scotland, and I do really regret not bringing it up to Scotland. But I was at that time, I was based in London, and we were funded by the Arts Council. So I brought 4 Malawian artists, and they worked with 6 British artists. There was, I don't know if any of you know Ben Mankamba, who was, he's the chief now, but he came to do the music, collaborating with Fred, who actually is my son, who's a musician. So that we had the 2 UK and Malawi partnerships on the music. And then we had Stanley Mambo, who came from Lilongwe, who runs the theatre in Lilongwe. He came and played Caliban in My Tempest. And we had another couple of dancers, Robert and Josh, who played Ariel. And we translated it. I had somebody translate it into classical Chichewa. People don't think there is such a thing as classical Chichewa. There is. We had somebody translate parts of the show into classical Chichewa, and we did it with surtitles. So Caliban spoke in Chichewa. And when the actors looked at the script and said, and they went, "Oh my God, this isn't Chichewa. This is deep Chichewa." So it was, you know, proper. I was really pleased. I got a linguist, Malawian linguist, to do it. So we did that. We did very well with it. It nearly finished me off. It was a 17 venue tour, and it nearly completely finished me off. So I haven't done anything with Malawi since, although I'm now talking to the guy that runs the Easter Theatre Festival, and I met with Mufanaji Magalasi, who's professor of theatre at Chancellor College in Zomba. I met with him just this past year, and we're looking at doing some kind of collaborations there. So I'm hoping to sort of rekindle what I do. I would love to take The Tempest, or probably The Tempest, to Malawi, being as it is a bilingual production. I wouldn't have to have surtitles out there. So that would be great. And through Stuart, I got an introduction to a chap at the British High Commission who I had a meeting with last time I was there. So watch this space for possible theatre collaborations with Malawi and UK going forward. And now that I live in Glasgow, I thought it's about time I joined the Scotland Malawi Partnership to meet other people with Malawi connections in Glasgow and in Edinburgh, which I have started doing. So you say what we'd like out of being members of the Scotland Malawi Partnership. Well, I've already got it, really, and it's great. I'm already talking to lots of people and getting to know more people who have a background in all things Malawian and Chichewa. So Zikoma Kwambiri, I will shut up now.
Thank you, Kate. That's very informative and helpful, and really interesting to hear about all that. You may find that we're not only in Edinburgh and Glasgow, but we have members all over Scotland, as far as Orkney and into the borders. So, and you can actually search the membership by going onto our website and look by geographical areas or areas of interest. So that may be something to look at if you're interested. The next person, I'm gonna, just because we've had two women speak, I'm gonna give the voice to a male new member who also happens to be a new board member, Bosco, if you would like to introduce yourself, please.
Oh, okay. No, thank you. Hi. So I'm Bosco Chinkonda. I think before I even introduce myself, it's nice to meet Katie. I was fascinated with the work of Nazigambe growing up, and it's good to hear about it. And also, I'm learning today that Billy Manko is a larger version of Nazigambe. I didn't know that. I thought it was just, different names of the same thing. So it's good to learn this and to engage with you all. So as I said, I'm Bosco. I'm a new trustee of the board, but I've been a member since 2023. I'm here as a PhD student and a PhD researcher with the University of Glasgow, where as a social scientist, my research focuses on ethical partnerships, community engagement, and also the use of creative and arts practices, specifically in the health discourse. So I've been working in the academia and the civil society space for about 13 years now, working in Malawi, but also with partners from Glasgow quite a lot. Beyond being the researcher and a member of the board, I'm also co-director of the Sustainable Futures Global Network, the Malawi Hub, and also the co-director of Mapun 0265, which is a local organization in Malawi looking at education. So I'm mostly quite interested in connections to do with education, but also with health, especially in the methodologies and participation of different stakeholders in there. And I think I'll end by making a recommendation to Kate. You should meet Sharifa Abdullah Ban from University of Glasgow. She's an arts and theatre researcher. She was at the University of Malawi as well, and we've been discussing around creating some theatre work here in Glasgow to engage different audiences. So yeah, it'd be good for you guys to actually connect. Yeah, that's about me. So thank you.
Thank you, Bosco. And the first link has been made. Could I ask Fiona to introduce yourself, please, next? Thank you.
Hello. I'm sorry I missed the AGM because of the snow in Edinburgh, but I'm very happy to speak to people today and just hear a bit more about the partnership. My connection with all of this is my dear late husband, Peter Fraser, Lord Fraser of Carmiley, was the Reverend Dr. Donald Fraser's grandson. And his grandmother was Dr. Agnes Fraser. They were out in Malawi, the end of about 1800, 1900. They set up the Loudon Mission Station, and Donald Fraser is still remembered there today. I know my niece went out on the anniversary of the Loudon Station being built in Bangweni at 2002, I think it was. And I was asked by my local historical society in Carmiley a couple of years ago to, I don't know why they chose as a subject Dr. Donald Fraser. And I'd always known about him, obviously, as a relative of Peter's, as his grandfather, but I'd never really found out as much as I should have about him. So I had to give a talk about Dr. Donald Fraser and Agnes Fraser, and I discovered just how important they had been in the missionary service in those early days in Malawi. And since then, I've done quite a bit of research on them. There are lots of books written, articles written, and I just thought it would be a nice thing to join up. I felt I should join up and hear more about what the partnership does. And that's my connection.
Thank you, Fiona. That's very informative as well. And it's great to see that some of the links obviously go back much further than just the now and just today. So the next person on my list would be Sharon Brown. Would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Hi everyone, I'm Sharon Brown, and I, like Bosco, I'm a new board trustee member. I am a child psychologist to trade and currently working in Education Scotland as a civil servant. I have been a member of the SNP for a number of years now and visited Malawi, which was, a life event for me, where I went out and was teaching some of the teachers in Scotland's approach for effective pedagogy in terms of learning, teaching and assessment. So that was a life-changing moment for me, and I continue to be interested in education, particularly girls, and the rural challenges that I saw when I was out there, but not just for the learners, but the teachers themselves in rural communities. And I'm interested in obviously contributing to the interest groups within the SNP. So I think that's enough about me now. I'll hand back to Dorothea.
Thank you, Sharon. That's, again, a lot of information. Can I ask Wesi to talk to us, to introduce yourself? And if you're able to go on camera, that would be wonderful. But if not, then just speak without the camera.
Hi, everyone. As you can see, I was out for a walk, so I thought I'd just join while doing my walk. So my name is Wesi Mkonja. I'm based in Inverness, in the Highlands. I just came in the UK in 2023 in September, and I joined the SMP in November. And I actually attended the AGM in 2023, but I failed to attend the one for last year. So my interest is in education. At the moment, I work for NHS as a lead procurement officer, but on the side, I have my own consultancy firm that I do with employability skills. I like to teach people how maybe they can craft good CVs and maybe write good sample letters and everything. So pretty much that's what I do. Yep, that's it about me.
Thank you, Wesi, and thank you for joining us from your walk. Again, we're further north in Inverness as well, so lovely to hear from you. Thank you. And next, Valerie, would you like to speak about what it is you do and how your link is with Malawi?
Hello, yes. Oh, I seem to have lost my photograph at the moment. Never mind. Yes, I run a project called Learn with Grandma, which has a group in Malawi. And I was a speaker at COP26, and it came about because of what a young man in Malawi did. I posted around the world that I wanted to plant trees for my birthday. And this young man in Malawi said, "Grandma, I'll plant a tree for your birthday." From that, it went around the world, and many millions of trees have been planted because of that connection. Learn with Grandma is in more than 50 countries now, but we're very strong in Africa, and we do an awful lot of other work there. One of the projects that has been extremely successful in many countries, including Malawi, is to hand sew sanitary towels, which saves the families a great deal of money. It's better for the environment. My granny made my first pads out of a wincey nightie, and the only cost is the thread. Now that's a great saving. I'm very easy to find on Facebook because I'm the only Valerie Wood gauger in the world. I can put my email address, although I think you have my email address, and could circulate that to everybody so that we can see what else we can do in Malawi and also actually in the UK. I'm not in Scotland, I live in Wales, and I couldn't join SNP for a long time because they only wanted people from Scotland or Malawi. But I'm so pleased that you've decided to invite me, and I look forward to doing more work with you in the future.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you for sharing that with us. And yes, so we are opening up membership to all members wherever you are in the UK, as long as you understand that our sort of main focus is between Scotland and Malawi. And could I invite now any of our board members who are also on this call, if they wanted to contribute, say something, link up with anybody as the introductions have been through now.
Before I close down, will you send the chat to everybody?
Yes, we do. I meant to say that we do send the chat. We'll go on to our past events page. So anything you put in the chat to everybody in the group will be recorded. So if you wanted to put your email address, please do it. Put it in the chat now if you're happy for it to be shared with everybody in this group, plus anybody who might see it on the website.
I'm just going to try and do it now.
Okay, thank you.
Dorothea, maybe I could speak, but I can't put my camera on if that's okay.
Thank you, Jeremy. Yes, please do.
Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jeremy Bagg. I'm currently in Malawi, and I'm having some trouble with the Wi-Fi today. But I'm currently the chair of the Scotland Malawi Partnership and really delighted to see the success of this new innovation of having these new member forums. It's fascinating listening to the broad spread of activities. Just a bit of background about myself. I was head of the dental school in Glasgow for many years, and I'm now retired, but whilst there, we linked with Kamutsu University of Health Sciences, who were keen to start a program in Malawi that would allow them to train their own dentists. There are currently only about 50 dentists for 22 million people. And that's how my link with Malawi started. As a result of being successful with a fairly large grant from Scottish Government, which funded something called the Meldent Project, we did set up jointly in partnership a BDS degree program. The exciting news from that is that just on Friday, we heard that the Pioneer group, the first group to join the course in 2019, have all just passed finals. So Malawi now has its first ever home-trained dentist, small group, but it's a start. And we've also been working with the ministry on policy issues. There is now a national oral health policy. We're focusing now in terms of implementation on trying to improve child oral health in Malawi using Scotland's Child Smile programme, or the principles of that programme, as a bit of a model. So very interested to hear today from all the different members present. Very interested in the theatre side of things. We have a lot of oral health messages that we need to get out within communities. And my understanding is that in Malawi, it's been not uncommon to use theatre as a way of getting health messages across to communities. So I would be very interested in linking up with Kate and with Bosco's colleague in Glasgow to maybe look at that in a little bit more detail as we move towards implementation of the policy, part of which, of course, is getting the oral health messages out. So thank you all for joining today. It's been a real pleasure listening to you. Thanks, Dorothea.
Thank you, Jeremy. Who would like to speak next? Oh, Kate, yes.
I'd just like to respond to that. Yes, there is a very long and rich tradition of using theatre to get messages out. You'll find there are quite a few organisations out there, Nancy Camby just being one of them, but many other people are running theatre companies that get their bread and butter is being given a theme, and they take their messages out to the rural areas with live theatre. So I put my email in the chat, Jeremy. So if you just want to pop me an email, I could probably give you a few contacts.
That'd be great, Kate. And in fact, I'll be back in Glasgow for 6 weeks, second half of March, part of April. So I live in Glasgow, so we could maybe even catch up. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Good.
Just mention to you as well that I've got a project about creating ebooks, storytelling, and that might fit in well with the theatre thing that you're thinking about. So I've put my email in the column as well. So do please get in touch. I rather like the idea of grandparents and children telling stories together. Learn with Grandma is really about encouraging intergenerational activity, which includes IT, because people of my age, I'm 83 and a half, we're not as good at the technology as the youngsters. And but the stories, I did a thing with UNESCO, we're losing stories at a tremendous rate. People aren't buying books as they used to. Books cost more money, and they also are bad for the environment, whereas an ebook, there it is, and it's with you straight away, and most of them can be free. So it's a good way of looking at how we can bring the generations together to tell a story, their local story. My last bishop said, she's gone now, but she said, every church, every community has a story.
Thank you, Valerie. I see that we've been joined by yet another new member. I think it's Agnes. Agnes, would you be able to introduce yourself to the group? We were asking people to just quickly say what they were hoping to gain from the SNP membership and which connections you might like to make. But you can also just say who you are, what your connection to Malawi is, and how you came to join the SNP. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Agnes Wizi Kambala. I'm a student at the University of Dundee. I'm doing a PhD in social work. So this is my first year, and I got to learn about the Scottish Malawi Partnership last year when there was the Higher Education Forum. I attended that one in Glasgow. So when I heard what the Scottish Malawi Partnership is all about, I thought this is a good way of connecting with home as long as I am here. So I'm hoping to gain a network and to contribute in any way possible for the betterment of the partnership, but also for the betterment of Malawi as a country. Thank you.
Thank you, Agnes. That's lovely. I meant to say, so we do have a few upcoming events, and one will be an upcoming is the Further and Higher Education Forum, which this time will be in Edinburgh at Edinburgh University at Patterson's Land. That's on the 13th of March at 11 a.m. There are other events as well, but I think we might maybe just put a link into the chat, or Chad may mention some a bit later as well. Did we have all? Oh no, Emma. We haven't heard from all our board members. There's Emma.
Yeah, I just want to add my voice to the other board members, saying how fantastic it is to hear from our new members and what interesting topics you've raised and the work that you're doing. And thank you very much for sharing that with us. There's a whole range of expertise and insights there. I'm chair of a charity called Stecker Skills. We are partnered with a very inspirational children's rights campaigners, Helen and God knows Maseka, who have a care home in Blantyre called Stecker. And our job is to spread what we call the Stecker effect, which is, as I say, a very inspirational approach to helping young survivors of human trafficking, life in the streets, etc., become more ambitious and feel secure by funding a vocational skills centre for people who are very marginalised in rural Blantyre or Blantyre rural, who can't afford to pay for vocational skills training, and we're providing that through God knows and Helen. So that's one part of it. I'm also an academic and developed a model of critical dialogue, which is a methodology for providing what we call a brave space, so that very, very marginalized, oppressed people can actually gain the power to be able to give voice to their what they want, basically, which can be very difficult, as we all know, in a situation particularly in post-colonial countries. So if people are interested in that model, I was very delighted that it was put forward by my university for the audit of research in the UK conducted by the Westminster government, and we got 4-star. It was seen to be world leading. So I'm really keen to share that with anybody who's interested. So I noticed sort of Bosco and Agnes were both studying, and you may well be interested in that. But apart from that, also made loads of mistakes in setting up a small charity, which I'd be delighted to help other people learn from, and myself got masses of help from both the SNP and members of the SNP when trying to do all sorts of things. So I do really, really recommend reaching out to anybody and just asking, even if it feels very, when I was trying to set up as a charity, we now have a board of trustees of 15 trustees, and things are going okay. We're still tiny, but so much help from people, and I would love to be able to give help to others if anybody needs it, but also to learn from you, because you're all very experienced. So welcome.
Emma, I didn't catch the name of your charity.
I put it in the chat, actually. It's called Stecker Skills.
Okay.
Stecker is the name. It's named after step kids awareness, step children being the most at risk of abuse, not only in Malawi, but worldwide, in the UK too. So it's called Stecker, the amazing home I'm talking about in Blantyre. And our charity, which is based in Scotland, is called Stecker Skills, because we're there to help Stecker develop vocational training skills for others.
Well, of course, you can post to Learn with Grandma Malawi what you're doing in Malawi, but you can also post to Learn with Grandma UK. There isn't a Learn with Grandma group for Scotland per se, but there is one for the UK as a whole. And you never know when you throw a pebble in the pond quite how far the ripples are going to reach. And this is a way of reaching out to more people.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, everyone. That was all very informative and helpful, and great things to learn and hear. I'm now going to pass over to Chad.
Thanks, Dorothea. Just also introduce myself as a member of the SMP team. I'm Chad Morris, I'm the Deputy CEO here at the Scotland Malawi Partnership. I lived in Malawi for 20 years, from 2000 to 2020, before moving with my family to Scotland. I was primarily based at Phoenix School at the HHI Synod there in Blantyre. So for the whole time as a primary school teacher and consequently the head at Phoenix School. Before moving to Scotland, my wife's still involved with lots of research projects with Malawi, with MUBOS through the University of Strathclyde and so forth. Firstly, wanted to thank Dorothea for organizing and chairing today's quick catch up where we got to meet new people. It's fantastic, some of familiar faces and some new faces, and encourage you to stay involved with the SMP. Obviously, we have times throughout the year where we're more busy and a bit quieter in terms of events, but we're kind of in our busy point at the moment. And, with weekly events happening, as Dorothea mentioned, many of them are thematic sometimes and so forth. So I'm trying to do two things at once here in terms of sharing our upcoming events page. It's on our website. So next week, we'll be having a lecture on the importance of livestock in Malawi, which we're excited about. And then the week after that, we'll have two events with, we are the Secretariat for the Malawi Cross-Party Group based at Holyrood. And there'll be a delegation visiting during the week from the Kamuzu University of Health Sciences who will be with us at the CPG meeting, which is we're also having that with the International Development Cross-Party Group in the Scottish Parliament. And later in the week, we'll have our normal further and higher education forum, which Agnes referred to earlier. We were in Glasgow for the last one. We're going to be in Edinburgh for this one. We'll also be joined by the delegation from CUHAS at that meeting. So, and amongst that, we'll also be having a presentation from the RSE on their scoping report on their collaborations between African and Scottish institutions in terms of research that was written by Alita Chidimba, who's a strong supporter of the SMP. So she'll be giving a presentation at that meeting as well. Later in March, we're having a very unique event. Those of you who joined us for the AGM, where we had a fundraising essentials, I think is what we call session. So as a spin-off off of that, we're happy to be able to offer a masterclass on setting up legacies that will be in person, also at Glasgow City Chambers and online. And if you keep watching this space, there'll be more events programmed and popping up all the time. In addition to, hopefully you're already receiving our weekly newsletters, which Nasim's slowly into her second week, learning to take on board and lead brilliantly. Although it takes, the whole team, we're always contributing to that. And we hope that you find that useful each week and trying to bring you the most pertinent information we can that we come, but also use us as a communication tool for any of your initiatives that your organizations, you personally have that you think is worth sharing. Please always reach out to us via Nasim, always looking for pictures of the week, good stories, or even concerns you have that you'd like to share and maybe share with the membership at large. So please free to send us anything. And we're happy to try to include that in our weekly newsletters. And obviously follow us on all our social media platforms, depending on what works for you best. I think that was enough for me, but once again, thank you all for joining us. We have a few extra minutes, so if anybody would like to share anything else, we're happy to have an event that's a little bit more casual without such a strict agenda. So it's really nice to have the opportunity, and I've been taking notes of some of the collaborations I think that could happen in a short period. So thank you very much for joining us.
Well, on the events thing, and also to say thank you to Nasim for sharing our event that we're having on International Women's Day on March the 8th. If anyone wants to play bingo and have afternoon tea in Edinburgh, we're having a fundraiser there, which is advertised on our Stecker Skills Facebook page. So basically, I can recommend sending messages to Naseem, and then we can all find out about each other's activities.
And Learn with Grandma is another method of finding out about things, because all of the things you're talking about can also be posted on Learn with Grandma Malawi and Learn with Grandma UK. I haven't been up to Scotland since the COP, which was wonderful, and gave me an opportunity to meet Sir David Attenborough, which was amazing. And we can all do something. And most of the things I do, I suggest, are affordable, achievable, and sustainable.
Hi, thank you very much. I've dropped my email address as well, so you can send them direct to me, as Emma has said. And I look forward to hearing of all your activities, and I'm happy to share them as well. Thank you.
So if nobody else wants to contribute to this, feel free to say anything you still want to, but otherwise we can close this meeting as well, and hope to have more occasions like this for new and existing members to speak to each other and introduce themselves, because as we can see from today, there've already been quite a few connections made that will hopefully be fruitful and helpful.
You will receive, because you registered for this event shortly after, a quick link to a survey. It's just 3 questions, helps us both with our reporting, but also gives us feedback on how you think the event went, and anything that's on your mind you can share via that link on potential future events that we might program, other connections, questions, so forth. And then, yes, later you'll get the link, which is the same link that on our webpage. Whether it's an upcoming event, it becomes a past event, but it's actually the same link, and that's where we'll load up the video and share the chat box and everything else. So if you made any connections or want to check someone's email address, just to say that we don't share members' email addresses with other members without their consent. We can bring people together and make sure that's okay. So the quickest way is actually sharing your email address in the chat box if you're happy for people to find it. Otherwise, we can connect people, but we want to make sure that we're cautious. We're not obviously sharing people's details. So.
And I also want to invite you and encourage you to add information to your membership profile on our website. If you have any queries on how to do that, please get in touch, and I'll try and help you as much as I can, because it is really, I know not everybody nowadays uses websites, but it is a fantastic tool. We use it ourselves quite a lot, just to sort of look up who is a member, what are they doing, which sort of field are they specialized in. And the way the website is set up, where you put your profile, is that I think you just tick boxes and things. So it's meant to be fairly user-friendly and easy to do for you, but it would be wonderful if you were able to add to your profile on the website. And you don't have to link to an email address if you'd rather not, but you can add photographs, videos, you can add all sorts of information on what it is you do, and that gives you a profile as well. So people will find you under your name on our website as much, and it will come up as a sort of search result, as well as everything else that you may have on the internet.
Will you also post that on the chat?
Yes, I think we have that. It's if you join as a member, then it will eventually come back as an option. So you create a password basically when you join, when you ask to join, and then once you are approved, you use that login detail to add to the profile, to your profile on the website.
I do use the internet, but I'm not as good at it as it's, so I like to keep things as simple as possible.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we'll
I'm
be
going
able
to say goodbye
assist
to
and help.
everybody now. So bye-bye. How do you say it in Scotland? We'll meet again. There's a phrase, I think, in Scotland that you say about meeting again, or is that just for Hogmanay?
I'm not Scottish, so, but is it Auld Lang Syne that you mean, something like that? I don't know.
Well, we could all have a little sing-song at the end if we wanted to. I think I know most of the words to Auld Lang Syne.
I don't
Should
think you'll find
old
anything like
acquaintance be... Sorry?
I said I don't think you'll find anything as polite as that here in Glasgow.
Oh, I had some fun in Glasgow, as well as being at the COP conference. Yes, I went, the Welsh government were going to pay for me to go up for just one day to speak for 10 minutes. And I thought that's nonsense. So I put on Facebook that I was looking for a bed, and I was offered a beautiful room in a lovely flat one station away from the main Glasgow station. And I was in Glasgow for 10 days. And it was very interesting and inspiring. I did a film. I could send it. I'll try and find it. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Valerie.